Firstly, the pamphlet published by Recognise a Better Way this week says that those who support this proposed constitutional change are often engaging in moral bullying, and they do this by saying their opponents are by definition racist. How has this gone down among ordinary Australians, in your opinion?
Well, I think very poorly. There's no doubt that some Australians are cowed by that sort of repression. You know, if you're against us, you don't vote for yes, then somehow you're a baddie. But most Australians will say, this is not fair. That we are decent people. We don't like your voice, Mr. Albanese. We don't like the model. Our job at Recognise a Better Way is to provide comfort to people in voting no. And that's why we've been very particular about, well, recruiting and working with Aboriginal people who have a similar view to us, which is they don't like this thing. They don't like the voice.
Well, as I explained earlier, and your pamphlet also explains, the Voice panel will just become another block of political advocates trading political outcomes with other MPs. Now, you say this type of negotiating rewards power, but doesn't solve problems. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, so we'll have 24 brand spanking new Aboriginal delegates. They're not elected, they're delegates will turn up in Canberra, and you'll have the same debate. Some will be in favour of turning off grog, some will be against turning off grog. Some in favour of the basics card, some against the basics card. We spent all this money and we've got the same debate. So let's just have the debate among the existing players, all of whom are known. They've all been public figures for decades, but we could have a more serious debate about what it will take to save children presently in big strife in Northern Australia. Now, that honest conversation does not need a whole new political architecture. In fact, we'll never have that honest debate if we build Albanese's voice.
Yeah, well, I just want to stick on that point for now about the politicking, though. When you were in Parliament, did this kind of legislative horse trading, was it not as bad in those days? Because it's certainly become bad now, hasn't it?
Sure, but that's the stuff of politics. I mean, say as a minister, I would try and get a bill through the House. That was easy. You had the numbers. But once you got to the Senate, if you didn't have a majority, you'd have to work with other senators. You sit down and you would have to negotiate. They'd knock bits off it. That's a proper process. Now, it may be messy now because there are more independents and other types sitting in the Senate. My point is, if you have this new Aboriginal caucus, this advisory group, they'll have a lot of power. They'll have the power to disrupt legislation, and they'll deal with senators there to do precisely that, and the senators will give them something in return. You know, another program here, another piece of money there, and away we go. It's like having an extra couple of senators in